I put the bass in your walk, head to toe, and let your whole body talk. And so Kimora is going to get on my nerves this episode. I can already feel it. She's gotten on my nerves since she's been on this show. And I'm so disappointed because when the season 9 cast was released, she was the one who I gravitated to. Like her beat, her hair, her styling, everything. I was just like, this is going to be like the top 3. I really thought that about her. And then she gets on this show and I'm just like, you can go. So we open up with the queens coming back to the dressing room after elimination, and Kimora is feeling upset and sad and down because she feels like she's being underdogged. Her words, not mine. And I'm like, sis, you're not underdogged, you're just lazy. This is why the judges are coming at you, and this is why you're always in the bottom, because you're lazy. Kimora is a lazy queen. It seems like because she's in Vegas, she gets treated by probably a lot of wealthy men, or, you know, get a lot of fans, because Vegas is a fan place to go to, and I feel like she probably gets fawned over a lot, and she probably gets a lot of guys who treat her and put her up and treat her well, so she doesn't have to do much like the queens from other places. She doesn't really have to put in the work because everything is provided for her. Because let me tell you something, Vegas has nice stuff all over the place. I went to Ross when I was in Vegas because I was going to the Soul Train Awards, and I had to find me a dress to wear. And let me tell you something, there were fabulous Ross dresses that were like in the clearance section, or was it Marshalls? I think it was Ross. Whatever, it was Ross or Marshalls, or one of those places. I love me a Ross and I love me a Marshalls, but they never have these extravagant gowns that they had at this Ross in Vegas. And that's what I think is happening with Kimora. Everything is just at her fingertips. If she wants a nice gown, she can go to a Ross or a Marshalls or whatever, or get like a wealthy guy to take care of her and get the wealthy dude to buy the makeup and the money and the hair. She doesn't have to do much. So when she comes on a competition where you have to give it your all, she's falling behind because she has to actually put in additional work, and she's probably not used to that. Now we're at the Maxi Challenge, and the queens have to create a fabulous fairy tale where they're the star of the fairy tale, and they have to create a sassy sidekick. So they have to create fashions for the lead in the story, in the fairy tale, and then they have to do like a crazy beat makeup and hairstyling for the sassy sidekick, while also creating a story that correlates with the fashions and the theme of the fairy tale that they're trying to tell. Let me tell you something, season 9 is not playing around. They are putting these queens to work, and I like that because it's season 9. Like at this point, you have to bring it or you gotta go home. So a lot of the queens who can sew are excited about this, but then you have a few queens who are just like, oh my goodness, I can't sew. I don't really know how to make a garment. And I'm like, you know what? I won't get mad at the people, at these queens for submitting to this show. At this point, you just got to get mad at casting, because it's, you know, that they have to have some type of sewing skills. You know the judges are going to rip them apart. Why do you keep on casting queens on this show who cannot sew when there are so many other queens who can put together a garment in seconds? Like, I don't understand why they keep on doing it, because this happens every season. Then now we have queens who are paying other queens to create their costume. And I'm just like, it feels cheap to me. It feels like a cheat as well. And so I just, honestly, at this point, I wish they would just stop allowing people who can do great makeup but don't know how to put up a garment, because that's not Drag Race. You got to be able to do it all. You got to be able to blend in your wig, block out your eyebrows. You got to be able to do good makeup. You have to be able to put a garment together. You have to be able to be creative. You have to be able to, at this point, be physical. And I'm just seeing them just picking like a lot of queens who are very easily going home. Like, you can see it in the season. You can see it in the episode. You're just like, oh, this queen doesn't know how to sew. They're going home. Oh, this queen doesn't have any rhythm, or this queen doesn't, you know, really know how to beat their face, so they're going to go home. It's just really sloppy at this point, and I wish they wouldn't make it so obvious about who's going home and who's going to stay. If they really pick people who are great contenders, we won't have a season like this. You know what I mean? As the challenge starts, Aja, it's Aja, right? Raja is like Raja. Aja, okay. It took me a moment, but I was able to get there. She's feeling herself because it's a design challenge. She's like, yes, I can sew. And she's really excited because she feels like this is the time for her to really show her skills. The skills are sewing, because it can't be makeup. It can't be makeup. Kimora doesn't know how to sew. Surprise, surprise. Sis, pack your bags and just go home now. Stop taking up space for another queen who could win this thing. I'm just really at this point so sick of queens who come on the show, like I said before, who can't sew. This is season 9. You know what you're coming in for. This show is not a secret. Why even apply if you can't compete? Then Pheromone is in her feelings because she's not that creative and she doesn't know how to sew. Who cares? Suck it up, Buttercup. This is season 9. You cannot come into this workroom and rely on pretty. It does not work here on this show. My favorite right now is Valentina. I love her. I love her creativeness. I love her goofiness. I love her newness and her freshness. I'm telling you, she could take this crown. She reminds me of Tyra Sanchez. I don't know if she was season 1 or season 2, but she reminds me of her because Tyra Sanchez, she was underrated. Everybody was saying that she wasn't going to she wasn't going to even last to the end. She wasn't going to make it to the middle of the season because she was so fresh, she was so young, she was so new to this, and they really underestimated her. And I think they do the same thing with Valentina because she's only been doing this for like a year, like 10 months, she said. But it doesn't really matter. If you have that creativeness in you and you really have that drive to be a star, you can come from behind and take the crown. And I really think that if Valentina doesn't take the crown, she's going to be in the top 3 because Mother hasn't missed a step. Now she hasn't been on the bottom, so maybe maybe she can't really lip sync for her life. Maybe that's her weakness. But from what I'm seeing, she is bringing it every episode, every challenge. She rises to the challenge and above. So I'm thinking that she may be top 3. Trinity outside of drag gives me demonic hobbit. You know what I mean? She's like this season's Detox in the face though, concerning like the work that she has had done, but she's not Detox in butt shots or in town. Girl, then we get this Aja shade about her face tuning and doing all types of things to her pictures because a lot of the queens have said that Aja does not look how she looks like in the workroom, how she looks on her Instagram. And that's very true because Aja's pictures on Instagram and even the pictures that were released for season 9, she does not look like it. And I think no, I'm not even going to give the excuse of her having bad skin or issues with her skin because there's still ways around it. Aja doesn't know how to paint her face. She really, really doesn't. It's too much makeup. The lashes are just too heavy, too gaudy, and it's not intentional. See, that's the thing. If her drag was trashy drag and it was intentional, there's still a way to do it. But her drag isn't like that. She wants to be like this, this hood glamour queen, but she doesn't know how to paint, and that's the problem because the makeup is so sloppy. And that's a shame because I feel like she's a strong queen in spirit. I haven't really seen it yet in the fashions or the makeup, but I do feel like she's a great entertainer. Putting on their makeup and things of that nature. We get this shot of Sasha, and I honestly forgot that Sasha was still on the show. And I'm telling you, Sasha, you have to make yourself known because you are way too talented to disappear in this cast. You have to give some more personality because although you are a talented queen, this is also a TV show. So you have to make sure that at least the producers want to keep you around. And I just realized that when I saw that shot of her, I was like, who is that? And I was like, oh my gosh, that's Sasha. And that wasn't a good sign. You got to make yourself known. Do not get lost in the sea of queens because you are a talented queen. We're at the runway, and I actually like Ru's outfit today. I did not, the first few outfits that Ru has been putting on for the runway was just not doing it for me, but this one I was just like, this is the Ru that I know. And I feel like this Rupaul is familiar to me because the judges are familiar. The old judges are back. Todrick is back. Carlton is there. I forget Ross is out for some reason, but we have the guest judge Cheyenne from American Horror Story. So for me, it seemed very familiar, and maybe that's why Ru was putting it on because it was the old seasons coming together. I don't know. I just really like seeing some of the old judges there, and I really like Ru's get up tonight. And I kind of feel like maybe that was a correlation of the fact that it was what it used to be because I miss the old judging table, the old judging seats or whatever, but I miss judging panel. I miss the old judging panel. I feel like they all had a really great chemistry, and maybe some are not available because they're doing other projects. Totally understand that, but I hope that next season they make it so the old judges are able to be locked in for that season and be available to film because I felt like they have a great chemistry and they all give really great notes. So far, the guest judges, I've just been like, Okay. So now it's time for the runway, and right off the bat, the sidekicks are throwing me off. I thought that the queens were going to come out in one garment and then maybe do something creative and have like the sidekick somewhere next to them, or dress up in something smaller, or maybe come out as a sidekick. This weird CGI sidekick head on the side, and the judges acting like they can see the the queens perform the runway and do the sidekick at the same time, because you know there's no way for them to film it simultaneously, so it had to be different. It just seemed very awkward to me. I was just like, I know they're not looking at the queens that walk down the runway with their sidekick. I know they're not looking at that, and then the sidekick sitting on the side and like floating in and out of the green screen. It just, I just didn't think it transferred well. I didn't think that it was, that this was a good challenge for them. It didn't seem, when he explained it, when Ru explained it, it seemed like a great challenge, and then I'm seeing it on the runway and I'm just like, what is this? Cynthia's look was okay. To be honest, her looks never really wowed me. She's a pageant queen, so I just always felt like she's always wearing like some bodycon dress with jewels. It's never been creative to me or anything where I'm like, oh my goodness. It's always been okay. I did like Peppermint's look, especially the flame. I feel like Peppermint is very creative. I feel like she's still trying to find her footing, but I feel like there's a lot of creativity in her. And once she gets comfortable, if she remains, once she gets comfortable, I think we'll really start seeing some great things from Peppermint. Then Pheromone walks, and I love her makeup and hair. I've always loved Pheromone's makeup and hair. And the sidekick was okay, but I've never been wowed by her outfits yet on this season as well. And the outfit that she had on this time, I was just like, this is very, very lackluster. And also, I've noticed this from Pheromone on the runway. I don't think that Pheromone is comfortable walking in heels. And this is why. Every time Pheromone walks down the runway, she looks at her feet. And as somebody who has a problem with walking in heels, I'm just not able to do it. I want to be, but listen, I know my strengths and my weaknesses, and walking in heels is one of them. I'm the same way as Pheromone. I watch my feet because I want to make sure where they're going so that I don't snap my ankles. And Pheromone does the same exact thing. She's always walking and watching her feet, then looking up, and watching the feet, then looking up. So she'll take two steps. She'll watch the feet as she takes the steps, and then she'll look up and she'll smile. And then she'll look back at the feet and walk again, and pause, and look up and smile down the runway. And I'm just like, sweetie, you can't sew and you can't walk, you gotta go. Looks great, but she's a professional with a lot of years under her belt, so I'm not surprised by that at all. Rika's hair and makeup is on point, but that outfit, nope. As well, I love the makeup and the hair. I'm not a fan of the outfits. I really thought that the queens were going to go there. You know what I mean? This is like fairy tale. I thought that we were going to get I knew we were going to get great makeup and hair, but I really thought the outfits were just going to be out of this world. But again, they got a lot of queens who can't sew and who can't create a garment. And a lot of the looks are similar. And I'm just like, why do all the queens look like they are borrowing the same outfit? Like after somebody gets off the runway, a queen snatches it off their backs and puts it on and then walks down the runway. I feel like we keep on seeing the same garment. I'm just like, did we not notice that people were glancing around the workroom when they were creating their garments and maybe get a little inspiration here and a little inspiration here to where the outfits have become the same thing? I miss Acid Betty. She was so creative. Oh, Kimora, go home. The outfit was lackluster and the sidekick was pathetic. She doesn't rely on pretty as much as she relies on sex. And that butt, girl, who cares? You gotta be creative. You have to wow the audience. I really want to see her show in Vegas. I'm telling you, I bet you it's a lot of her bending over, showing her behind, you know, downing bananas. It's, that's easy. That's easy. And this show isn't. So I don't think she's going to do well. Bonita Brown and them hips. I can't stand the hips. I know it's an illusion, but I just don't feel like the hips fit what she gives us every time. She doesn't really give us like the out of the box, she gives very creative looks, right? But I don't feel like the hips fit the illusion that she's trying to give, because I feel like the hips are so out there, but it's out there in a different way, like a different tone. They read different than the outfits that she gives from the waist up. It's so weird. I just feel like the waist up is a totally different like idea and illusion, and then from the bottom down it's something else, and it's like two queens trying to become one, and I never feel like the creativity matches the padding. But I loved her look. I always love her looks. She did a great job. She really knocked it out the box. I was still thinking about her look, and I actually had to pause and rewind to see her look again. That's a great queen for you. She had me doubling back. That's how you win this competition. However, I do think that she's relying a little bit too much on the construction paper and the fact that she's able to give fabulous looks with that. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think she's just done it enough to the point where we see that this is what she can do. Now show us something else. And I'm only saying that because I feel like if she does it again, Michelle Visage is going to rip her to shreds, because Michelle Visage does not like redundancy. She likes you to wow her and show her something, then show her something different. So I hope she doesn't continue to bring that up. I hope this is it for her with the construction papers. And as somebody who watches Untucked as well, I really hope her confidence just shoots up after this episode, because I feel like she does a good job every time, but I think because she's applied for Drag Race so many times and got shut down, it's weighing on her that she's not good enough. But girl, you're here. You are good enough. It is your time. Please don't let your mind get you out of this competition, because you're so talented. Sasha's outfit, but I think her creativity is going to save her, and she's probably going to make it maybe to like the final 5 or something like that, because Sasha is very creative and her looks are always very clean. They're not always well thought out, and they don't wow me, but her looks are always very clean, and the makeup is so beautiful. So I feel like that part of her creativity is going to save her in this competition. Kool-Aid was definitely the top queen for me tonight. I love the outfit. I love the drama. I loved, even though she was having a little struggle walking down the aisle, I just loved everything about it. When you, just from her silhouette to when she just started gliding down, it was a scene, it was an event, and I love that. That to me is Drag Race, you know? Valentina came to play. Yes, makeup, yes, wig, yes, outfit. Even her story was funny. Valentina, I'm telling y'all, she is the queen to watch. She has creativity, she has comedy, she's beautiful, so she can sometimes play pageant, but then she also brings out the creativity and the drama. Y'all better watch out for her. Please don't underestimate her because of her age and because of how many months or how long she has been doing drag, because I'm telling you, she gonna pull a Tyra Sanchez and shock all of y'all. So Aja built herself up a little bit too much for me. You went on in the workroom about how, yes, you're so happy to have a sewing challenge that you come out with this outfit. Some neon orange, tacky, matted up fur coat with these torn pants and a training bra. It showed little to no construction. The pants were like lopsided, and they were talking about that on Untucked. They was like, why didn't anybody say anything about her lopsided pants and her bad makeup? It was all just a mess. And then the fairy tale and the sidekick, none of it correlated. She was just really all over the place. Now, you know what's funny? Aja has been doing a drag longer than Valentina, but she gives me newbie. You know what I mean? She gives me somebody just starting out or trying to figure out drag. It's very weird that she has a longer history in the drag community, and her execution is just so poorly done. But on Instagram, fabulous. I need these filters. What are these filters that the makeup artists are using and these drag queens? Because I'm telling you, they make them look like two totally different people on Instagram, and I need this filter too. Why are the makeup artists and drag queens having all the fun? Let me have all the fun too, looking like I know how to do a highlighter when Lord knows I'm just learning how to apply makeup. Hello. Trinity was okay, but it was a bathing suit with jewels. At judging. The queens have all walked, we've heard their stories, we've seen their fairy tale, we've seen their outfits. Now we're at judging, and I'm actually surprised at the outcome here. Not the outcome, but I'm surprised at who was safe and who was the top and who was the bottom, because because I was very surprised that Shea Coulee was safe. I loved everything that she did. I loved her story, I loved her makeup, I loved her hair, I loved her outfit. I just thought everything was just top notch for me, and I was just really surprised that she was safe. Kimora, Aja, and Pheromone are on the bottom. Not surprised. I called it. I saw it when the credits started rolling on this episode. I already knew, especially in the workroom when they start bemoaning about what they can and cannot do. And then just Aja's makeup alone, I knew that that was going to get the judges, because it's episode 3 at this point, and she's still showing up with that clunky makeup and those heavy lashes, and the execution of her outfit was just very, very tacky. And I'm like, sweetie, that's not banja or beige, whatever she was trying to make an excuse for her poor outfit. It's just, it's taste level, to be quite honest with you. I think it's just her taste level. Trinity, Valentina, and Peppermint are on the top tonight. Now, I'm not surprised about about Valentina or Peppermint. Trinity surprised me because I didn't think that what she did was so great, but she's beautiful. So, you know, they let her pass for a lot of stuff. And I think that, I think the judges are allowing her to rely on pretty. And I hate when they do that, because there's always a queen that they let skate through. Now Trinity has had some work done outside of drag. She is tender-eyed, I'm gonna just be honest, but in drag she shows up very beautiful, and she's able to do her makeup really great. But I feel like the judges are letting her skate by, and I hate when they do that, because I feel like they always do that with like 1 or 2 queens, because when they get to elimination, to like the final 4, the final 5, or the final 3, it's easier for you to eliminate that queen, because they weren't that great to begin with, and you don't understand how they got that far, you know what I mean? So when they get rid of Trinity, it's just like, well, okay, I don't feel as bad, but they can't get rid of Valentina, because that's like a top-notch queen. It's all a game that they're playing here, because I mean, it's also a TV show, so there has to be some type of suspense, but I already see it. I already see them passing Trinity through just to be able to get rid of her later. Kimora is up for elimination, rightfully so. Aja is up for elimination. Not surprised. She wins. Shocked. I really am shocked. I mean, her makeup was flawless. Her story was funny, but Shea Coulee was my top. And Valentina. Shea Coulee and Valentina. Either of them winning would have been great for me. But again, I told you, I think they're trying to pass Trinity through to get rid of her later, and really like keep Valentina and Shea Coulee safe, because they don't want the viewers to know like right off the bat who's going to be in like the final 3 or the final 4. You know what I mean? They want to make it suspenseful for us, because it's still a show. That's what I think is happening here. I could be wrong. A lot of times some really good queens send themselves home because they, you know, not everything is together. So that might happen. I hope it doesn't, because I really think that Nina, Shea, and Valentina are really, really great queens. I also think that Sasha is a good one too, but she disappears so much, so I don't know. But I know those 3 that I just mentioned, those are the ones who I think are going to be at the end, but I could be wrong. So Kimora and Aja is up for elimination, and even before the music started, I already knew who was going to win, because Aja, although I don't feel like her makeup and her taste level is up to par, she wants this. She really, really does. Kimora doesn't. Kimora is lazy. Kimora is bratty. Kimora just... Kimora wants the rewards without the work. So then the lip sync starts, and Aja's already killing it. She is singing, dipping it, and doing it, slide and split and twerk. She's doing the whole shebang, death dropping, killing it, hopping up every time on the note, you know, just really serving it, letting the judges know that she wants to be here. Kimora is so lazy. She's leaning. She's, it's relying on pretty again, relying on sex again, and it's just not working. So, you know, Rupaul sends her home, you know, and lets Aja know, congratulations, you have lived another day. But Kimora sashay away. Thank you. It was time for her to go. However, I will say this, although I was glad to see her go, because I honestly felt like she was taking up the space of a queen who's probably more worthy, who probably wanted it more. I did realize that there was a different Kimora than we saw on the show. If you watch Untucked, she was totally different. She explained like a lot of her insecurities, and you know, just so happy that she has other drag queen friends, and I was able to understand her a lot more and like her, and I really wish that Kimora showed us the Untucked Kimora on the show. I would have liked to see that. I just feel like we saw this this bratty, you know, self-serving persona. That's not really who she is, and I really wish we would have saw who she was like she showed herself on Untucked, but she didn't show us that on the show. So I was really happy to see her go. And then I watched Untucked and I just felt horrible that, you know, I was rooting for her to leave, you know what I mean? Because she wasn't likable on the show, but she was very likable in Untucked. And I guess maybe she felt more comfortable, or maybe she knew she was going home so she could drop the facade. I don't know, but I really wish that the Kimora we saw behind the scenes was who showed up at the show. I mean, also, this is probably really difficult. It's a really difficult thing to do, and I understand that a lot of queens don't take this thing lightly, but just what we were shown of Kimora, I didn't think that what she put out there on Drag Race was the best representation of her, because in Untucked, she showed she had a soul, and I really, really felt for her. Anyway, that's what the episode ends. Next week's looks to be really, really juicy. And I'm a fan of this show, so I'll be there for every episode. So I will see you next week for the next episode of RuPaul's Drag Race. Bye, cover girls. Mwah.